Hey guys, Jennifer here, and welcome to Bunches of Lunches Budget Edition. In this week's video, I'm going to do the Extreme Dollar Tree Lunch Challenge. I'm going to be sharing with you an entire week of budget-friendly lunch ideas. So yes, 7 different lunches, but there are a few rules to this challenge. For this challenge, everything I put into all of the lunches has to come from the Dollar Tree. Also, I can only shop at one Dollar Tree. And I am trying to stick to a budget of $20 for all of the lunches. And you guys, because I want to stick to that budget, these lunches are mainly going to be focusing on the main course and either a fruit or a veggie on the side. Even though the Dollar Tree has plenty of sweet treats, snacks, and special drinks, they're just not going to be fitting in the budget, so I'll be leaving them out. Now, knowing that I could only go to one Dollar Tree location, I did end up driving past 2 other locations on my way to this one. This happens to be a newer location, so I thought their selection might be a little bit better. As you can see, this location does have quite a lot of food and snacks, but what they don't have is any kind of fresh fruit or vegetables at all. And it also doesn't have a very big selection of healthier items, so this is definitely going to be making things a little bit more challenging. Okay guys, so I'm back home now, and here is my little Dollar Tree haul. For all of these lunches, I ended up picking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 items. So yes, I did end up going slightly over budget, but honestly, I went into the Dollar Tree not knowing what I was gonna find or what I was going to make. So I made a lot of quick decisions, and I really think that some of these items will end up making quite a bit. So all of these items will probably make more than 7 lunches. Okay guys, so I'm kicking things off with lunch number 1, and this is definitely going to be my protein-packed lunch. So the first thing I'm going to do is open up the carton of eggs I found at the Dollar Tree. I honestly did not know that you could buy eggs at the Dollar Tree, so I was kind of surprised. I'm going to go ahead and stick a couple of these in my Instant Pot to hard boil them, and while that's happening, I'm going to move on to some meat and cheese skewers. Now for the meat, I was able to find this salami at the Dollar Tree, and this is definitely not the kind of salami I would normally buy, but that's okay. This totally reminds me of the salami I used to have as a kid. It's kind of more like a cross between salami and bologna, to be honest. And then for the cheese, I'm actually going to be using just one of these mozzarella cheese sticks. At the Dollar Tree, these came in a pack of 3 for $1, but I'm going to need to save the other 2 for a lunch later. I have to say, this was pretty much the only kind of real cheese that I could find at the Dollar Tree. Each piece of salami I'm going to fold over, roll up, and then add to the skewer. And I'm going to alternate salami, then cheese, then salami, and more cheese, and so on. So now I'm going to add these into the lunchbox, and then I can circle back to those hard-boiled eggs. Now I've already peeled these, but I do need to go ahead and add a little bit of salt on here. And you guys, this might be considered cheating because I didn't actually buy this salt at the Dollar Tree. I already had this salt, so I'm just gonna use it anyway. So once I have the eggs in the lunchbox, I am going to go ahead and dress them up a bit. Since this lunch is pretty simple, I want to decorate it as much as I can, and these adorable sunglass food picks will do the trick. Next, in our protein-packed lunch, I'm also going to add in just one little container of peanut butter. This came in a 3-pack from the Dollar Tree, and I would really love to add some celery in with this, but like I said, the Dollar Tree doesn't have any fresh veggies, so I'm just adding the peanut butter on its own. And then, last but not least, I'm going to finish off this lunch with the protein blend of trail mix. Now, I picked this one out because it does say protein on it. I like that this didn't have any candies or chocolates in there. It's really just a mixture of peanuts, cashews, raisins, almonds, pepitas, and dried blueberries. Next up is lunch number 2. This is going to be a nut-free lunch and a hot lunch as well. Now, I was kind of surprised to find this really nice looking cornbread mix at the Dollar Tree. It's actually a really big size for just $1, but it does require eggs to make it. So I'm going to take 3 eggs from the carton I got from the Dollar Tree. And once I've emptied my dry ingredients into my bowl, I can add in the eggs and some water, mix it all up, and it's ready to go. So with this cornbread batter, I actually want to make some mini corn dog muffins. So of course you can't have a corn dog without a hot dog, and I was able to find a couple of different kinds of hot dogs at the Dollar Tree, but I did decide to go ahead and buy the chicken kind. I'm going to go ahead and cut all of these hot dogs into thirds, and as you can see, this recipe is going to make over a dozen of these corn dog muffins, so you really get a lot of bang for your buck when it comes to this recipe. Now, anytime I'm making muffins or cupcakes, I love to use these silicone liners. They just make sure that nothing sticks to my pan, and they make cleanup a breeze. So I'm gonna add 1 scoop of the cornbread batter into each little muffin cup. Then I'm going to stick 1 hot dog piece directly in the center of each little muffin cup. This recipe is super easy and it's kind of fun to make, so it's definitely a recipe that your kids could help you make. So now I'm going to add these into my preheated oven at 350 for about 20 minutes. And while those are in the oven, I can go ahead and get the rest of the lunch ready. For the fruit in this lunch, I decided to go with some freeze-dried strawberries. Now, I absolutely love freeze-dried fruit. It is so crispy and delicious, but I was really surprised to see that these are whole pieces of strawberry and not freeze-dried slices. So I'm just going to add these up in the front. And then for the veggie, we're going to be giving some frozen broccoli a try. Now, this looked like a really good size bag for $1, but I have to say that about 75% of this bag was not broccoli crowns, it was broccoli stems. And those are definitely not my favorite part of the broccoli to just eat. Honestly, I think this frozen but defrosted broccoli looks pretty sad, and I probably wouldn't put it in a lunch again. So now that the corn dog muffins are ready, I've got them out of the oven and I can add them into the lunchbox. But I do have to say that these are a lot bigger than I was expecting. I probably added too much batter into each muffin cup. So next time I might add a little bit less. That way they wouldn't be so big and overflowing. And you guys, this is where I'm going to make the decision to cheat just a little bit, because I really think that these corn dog muffins need some ketchup, but I didn't get any ketchup from the Dollar Tree. And then, since these kind of look like cupcakes, I'm going to add a little cupcake topper to each one, just to make them look a little bit more cute. Now, honestly, this doesn't look like a huge lunch, but trust me, those corn dog muffins are pretty filling. Now that brings me to lunch number 3. This one is going to be completely meat-free and it's going to be kind of unique. Now, while I was at the Dollar Tree, I really debated on whether I wanted to buy sandwich bread or tortillas, and I really didn't have it in the budget to buy both, but I thought that if I went with the tortillas, that would give me a lot more options and things I could make versus just going with the sandwich bread. So for this lunch, I'm gonna go ahead and use 2 of these tortillas. And to these tortillas, I'm going to spread on a good layer of peanut butter. I'm going to use this entire container on both of the tortillas. Now, I would have loved to find some fresh bananas at the Dollar Tree, but that wasn't happening. And I wasn't really liking the jam at the Dollar Tree either. So instead of making this a PB and a J, I've decided to make this a PB and R. So peanut butter and raisin roll up. Now I know this might sound different, but if you are a fan of ants on a log with the celery and the peanut butter and the raisins, it's kind of like that. So I'm thinking it's going to be good. I'm just going to sprinkle plenty of raisins all over the tortilla, and then I'm going to roll these up as tightly as I can. Now you guys will have to let me know in the comments down below if you are a fan of raisins or not. I know some people really like raisins and some people really dislike raisins. So now I'm just going to slice these into bite-sized pieces and get them into the lunchbox. Now because these have raisins and those technically count as a fruit, I'm not going to be adding any more fruit into this lunch. Instead, I'm going to go with some veggies. This is a combination of peas and carrots, previously frozen of course. And in the back, I'm going to add some cheddar whales. And these are kind of like goldfish, but they're in a whale shape instead. And then to dress this up, I've just added a food pick into most of these roll-ups. This helps them look cute, but it also helps each little pinwheel not to fall apart. Now moving on to lunch number 4. This is going to be another hot lunch, and for the main course I'm going to cook up some of these cheese ravioli. Now these actually look really good, like they didn't come from the Dollar Tree at all. They're actually pretty big. I'm gonna go ahead and cook these up, and then to go along with them, I decided to be brave and pick up this basil pesto. Now I say be brave because I'm kind of picky about pesto. I prefer to either make my own or get the kind at Costco. So I'm definitely a little skeptical about this kind from the Dollar Tree. Now these raviolis cook super fast. They only took about 3 to 4 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and add as many as I can fit into this lunchbox. And then I'm just going to spoon a little bit of the pesto directly on top. Now moving on to the fruit. For this lunch, I decided to go with some applesauce. At the Dollar Tree, they had regular applesauce and cinnamon applesauce. And since I think this applesauce looks a little bit plain, I'm just going to add 3 little mandarin oranges directly to the top. For the veggie of this lunch, I decided to add in some of the carrots. This actually came from my bag of peas and carrots. I just went ahead and picked out just carrots. And then in the back section, I'm going to completely fill this space with veggie straws. Now my kids love veggie straws, and the ones from the Dollar Tree are really good. They're a mixture of potato and spinach and tomato. And at the Dollar Tree, you actually get a really good sized bag. So I'm gonna be able to put these veggie straws in at least 2 lunches. I ended up trying the ravioli. I really thought that they were good, but the basil pesto was not. Next up is lunch number 5, and for this one, I'm going with a breakfast for lunch theme. For this breakfast for lunch, however, I decided to go with this pancake and waffle mix. Now, this is the kind where you just have to add water, which definitely saves some money. You don't have to have extra eggs or oil or any of that. For this lunch, I've decided to go with waffles because I have kind of a big selection of specialty waffle irons. And this time I decided to go with a Mickey shape. Now I do want to go ahead and spray my waffle iron just to make sure the waffles don't stick. And I have to say that this one box of pancake and waffle mix would make a lot more. Now to go along with this breakfast for lunch theme, I also thought it would be really fun to make a smoothie. The Dollar Tree did have lots of different kinds of frozen fruit, but I decided to go with this tropical blend. And you guys, this has banana, mango, papaya, and pineapple. And this bag really caught my eye because it says Jennifer's Garden on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and dump all of this frozen fruit into my blender. And then to add some creaminess to the smoothie without adding any sugar, I decided to go with some coconut milk. I'm going to blend this up until it is nice and smooth, then pour it into my cup and finish it off with a silly straw. Now to go along with this, I'm also adding in 2 hard-boiled eggs. This is really going to add a lot more protein. And instead of just slicing these eggs in half, I'm going to use this veggie cutter that I normally use for kiwi. This is going to give this egg a really fun zigzag pattern and cut it in half. And then because I wasn't able to get any syrup or anything else for the waffles, I'm going to add just a little bit of applesauce on the side to dip the waffles in. Now, this breakfast for lunch came together so quick and easy, and it was probably one of my kids' favorites. Now that brings me to lunch number 6, which is of course some mac and cheese. I feel like I cannot make a lunch video without making mac and cheese. And I was super surprised to find this deluxe mac and cheese at the Dollar Tree. Now we have taste tested a lot of different kinds of mac and cheese, so it'll be interesting to try this one. So while the mac and cheese is on the stovetop, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the rest of the lunch. For the fruit, I'm gonna be adding in some mandarin oranges. I did go ahead and drain those. And then for the veggies, I'm getting pretty low on my options, so I'm just gonna add in more of the peas and carrots. I'm going to try to dress these up with a few decorations. And then in this large section, I'm going to completely fill this up with more of those veggie straws. So now that the mac and cheese is done, I'm going to go ahead and pour it into the lunchbox. My first impression of this mac and cheese is that it looks pretty good, a little bit more watered down than, say, Kraft or Annie's mac and cheese. And you guys, after I gave this a taste test, I can honestly say that this mac and cheese is just okay. Definitely not the greatest mac and cheese I've ever tried, but it's not terrible either. And now finally, that brings me to lunch number 7, which is going to be a pizza quesadilla. For this lunch, I'm going to need 2 of these tortillas, and I'm also going to be using the rest of my cheese, which is not very much, but I think it's going to be okay. So I'm going to go ahead and open up these string cheeses, and I'm going to cut the cheese into little tiny pieces. And I'm going to cook these pizza quesadillas one at a time. Now I got this jar of pizza sauce from the Dollar Tree, of course, and I'm only going to need a tiny bit of it really. I'm going to have a lot of sauce left over. I could definitely use that in more lunches. Now you guys, I really did want to add some pepperoni to these as well, but my Dollar Tree did not have any kind of pepperoni, so these are technically cheese pizza quesadillas. To go along with these quesadillas, I'm going to add in the last of the applesauce, and because I'm out of pretty much everything else, I'm also going to add in a few of the cheddar whale crackers. So yes, this is definitely higher on the carbs for this lunch, but it's still on budget and pretty tasty. Now you guys, let me know in the comments down below, do you think I won this challenge or did I fail? Some of the rules I did bend a little bit, but I did end up making 7 different lunch ideas that I hope inspire you to make some budget-friendly lunches for yourself. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.